We begin in silence. In fact, we could not do otherwise but begin in silence, for silence is the beginningless beginning of every beginning. Eyes closed, physical body relaxed, finite mind open, supple, bright. Sinking deeply, easily into this. We investigate what we are. Am I the perceiver? Ask yourself, am I the perceiver? Without any perceptions, without any sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches. Are you the perceiver? Can you see here, now, that you are not the perceiver? Therefore, henceforth, take away I, the perceiver. And what remains? What is it that remains? Is it I, the doer? Am I the doer? Without any actions, without any doings whatsoever, are you the doer? You are here now, while it is not. Can you see right here that you are not the doer? Therefore, take away I, the doer. Ask yourself simply, openly, mysteriously, what remains? Am I the thinker, the one to whom thoughts, images, anticipations appear? in the absence of all thoughts, in a state of non-thought, am I the thinker? See right here, right now, that you are not the thinker. Hence, let fall away identification with the thinker. What remains here, now, in direct, luminous experience? Notice how sensations seem to come online. Therefore, ask yourself, am I the sensor, the one who has physical sensations? Without any physical sensations, are you the sensor, the one who has physical sensations? Without physical sensations, do you see that you are not the physical body? Without thought and without sensations, does it even make sense to speak of the physical body? Therefore, gently, compassionately, let fall away I, the sensor. What remains? Perhaps feelings like excitement or fear arise in direct experience. Am I the feeler, the emoter, the one in whom and to whom feelings appear? Go deeper still. Without any feelings, without any hint of melancholy or anxiety or fear or panic, without the hint of anger or ill will or aggression or hatred, without any feeling whatsoever. Are you the feeler? Can you see in this very moment that what you are is not identical with the feeler? Therefore, in the absence of perceptions, and so too the perceiver, in the absence of actions, and so too the doer, in the absence of thoughts, and so also the thinker, in the absence of sensations, and so too the sensor, and in the absence of feelings, and so too the feeler. What is it that remains? What is right here? What is right here? What is it? What is right here? Beneath and in the midst of all the comings and goings, all the arisings of phenomena, and all of the falling away of phenomena. What is right beneath your feet? Always. What is this? I am. I amness, or I isness. I meaning awareness. Not just awareness of phenomena, thoughts, feelings, perceptions, so on, but also and more basically pure, simple, non objective awareness and amness, or am meaning existence or beingness or isness or presence. Therefore, I am, meaning simply aware presence. Presence shining forth in awareness. Where awareness shining forth in presence. I am here and I am now. A question arises from some where and some when. Where am I? When am I? Am I in space and in time? For there to be space, there must be a here set over and against a there. Ask yourself, in my direct experience, is there a here and a there and even an over there? Or is it simply all here? Go to your direct experience and see, is there a there, or is it all simply here? Can you find a there? In fact, having taken away thought, that is to say, memory in particular, and having taken away visual perception, how could there be space in terms of here and there? Does it even make sense here for there to be any notion of space? In fact, there is only here, and thus there is only infinity. It is not that I am is in space. Rather, it is that space arises in I amness. I am here, that is to say, aware presence, infinity, aware presence beyond finitude, beyond mere vastness. Am I in time? For there to be time, there must be an earlier and a now and a later. Yet, without memory, without any thought whatsoever, is there now, right now, an earlier or a later? Or is it not true that there is only now? Only just now. Now is not long or short. Now is not a moment in time. Now has no duration whatsoever. Hence, now is eternity. Hence, now is not bound by the limits of temporal duration. Therefore, can you see that I am here and now means pure awareness, pure presence, infinity, and eternity. Presence shines forth in pure awareness without any limits whatsoever. Like empty sky, but then again, not empty sky. Like vastness beyond vastness, but then again, not vastness, because without indefinite extension. Before empty skies, before imagination arises, before vastness, before vastness beyond vastness. I am here now. Here now before any limitation. Here, I am here now before any limitation in the forms of doership or thinkerhood, and so on. I am here now before conceptual limitations, such as spatial finitude and temporal duration. And yet, to say that I am here and now is still to say too much. It is to say something that appears to limit I amness. Consequently, drop here and now, leaving I am pure and simple. Who am I then? What? What am I? What is it that I truly am? To speak of am or amness or isness is to apparently limit this awareness. For it can seem as if existence is what temporally bound and spatially bound objects participate in. Existence can seem finite. Limited. subject to change. Therefore, perhaps to say I am is also to say too much. Therefore, let am fall away. Leaving simply I. I, the first stirring of whatever is. I, the first name given to consciousness. I, the first movement in nameless reality. Since am or existence has been taken away, ask who I, what I. A sense, even a scent of mystery. Who I, what I. And yet, to even ask a question at this pointless point is to presume that there is a separate vantage point from which a question can be raised. There is no separate vantage point, and thus it ceases to be valid to raise a question. Therefore, let go of who and what and of all question marks. Remains I, awareness, pure, simple, radiant. Simply I, pure, simple, radiant. Lao Tzu of the Tao Te Ching. The way that can be named is not the eternal way. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. Therefore, to even speak of I is to say too much. Let I dissolve in reality. Reality, complete, abiding stillness. Complete without any parts, without any otherwise fullness. Abiding without time, without unfolding, abidingness. Stillness without movement. Pure rest. Self-luminous silence. Silence aware of itself, knowing itself, illuminating only itself. Too much said. Silent illumination. Still too much said. Silence. 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 you may open your eyes and move around, and we will come back and talk. Okay, we have 10 or 20 minutes or so. And it can be helpful to talk a little bit after that. Oh, 25, okay. Simple approach could be to utilize the way of counsel. Probably very customary for those who've been to the Stoa. If you feel called to say something, you can just unmute your microphone and talk, and just keep it clear and lean. That's it. And if no one has anything to say, that's fine too. We can just sit here for a bit. Either is fine. Let me just add, this is an opportunity for you to share something. I don't want this to turn into questions and answers.
I think as different layers are peeled, as this multi-layer was started as a multi-layer entity, was peeled away layer by layer and down to a core. And that core is then destroyed and it dissipates through and fills up the entire space and time. And the dust that fills up the space and time is the space and time, and it can be anything. So that's my sharing.
Hello. Whoa.
Sorry if you guys heard that giant shotgun shot. I wanted to share something that's kind of funny, but also not really meant as a joke. So I am doing this outside, and about halfway through the meditation, our chickens passed through the area where I'm sitting and were completely uninterested in me. They came much closer than they normally do, and didn't really register my presence much at all. Just didn't really bother or seem to affect them. And then as soon as we ended and the call to open our eyes and move around a little bit came, the chickens literally ran straight to me. So I definitely felt a coming back into more embodied relationship with everything around me in that moment. So there's a joke somewhere in there. I don't have enough brain power to say it right now. That's it.
Hello. Or we're supposed to raise our hand. I thought what was interesting was that the more that the higher layers faded away, the more something positive emerged, not necessarily neutral, which I would think would happen. It was almost like what's beneath is always positive and loving and not necessarily neutral, like I initially thought.
About 30 minutes before we started, I ate some good handfuls of like almonds and dried mango. And so as my layers of perception, as I dropped them, I was literally like a stomach floating in space because my stomach was digesting and there was heat there and I could feel the roundness of it like it was full, but I had nothing else of my body with me. And if I wanted to, I could pull my lungs in, but that was pretty wild to be a floating stomach. It was first.
Is this the anti-Stoa? A session that's not necessarily centered around discussion of ideas, but has mostly silence. I like it.
As the layers were kind of falling away, I would kind of get nervous and apprehensive with each layer being removed. And then I would sort of get comfortable again. And then I would have that panicky feeling arise. And then I just would kind of sit with it, with the aversion. And I could feel myself dropping deeper and deeper. And while it still felt good, there was definitely an aversion to feeling good and to feeling free. So it was a combination of freedom and clinging at the same time.
the answer to the question, who am I, is I don't know. And that becomes clearer and clearer every time I make the inquiry. And my personality is like total construct. Like even this blah, blah, blah to you, like this isn't even who I am. And it's kind of fun.
The question of who am I or who is I came to me as I am a game that I'm playing, and most of the time I have little control or even little agency to decide whether I want to play it or not.
In the middle of it, I actually feel like I was I feel car sick, or jet lag or something like that. And then in a way, the peeling of it or the wording of it, because it's wording, it goes into my head, right? Questions after questions. And there are so many questions that my intellectual mind cannot comprehend. Like there's no answer there. So I guess that's the ones that give me that kind of headache feeling. Then I drop into my heart space. So instead of paying attention to words, just getting into the energy of it. And when I get into the energy and not paying attention with the words, then I feel more like restful because I've been there before. And what came out through that, because my daughter, who was 7 years old, came and then sat with me during the meditation. What came out with that is kind of an experience of love that this I am, and also an appreciation of sensing, feeling, loving, thinking as the love who wants to manifest. So when my daughter was with me, and there's this feeling of love and touching her, and this I am just want to manifest into this personal and unique individual as me. And that brings such a gratitude. Thank you.
I got to a point where I found myself resting quite comfortably and confidently in what I can only describe as the feeling of infinite creative potential. glowing, a glowing orb in my belly, and just finding equilibrium with no up or down or left or right. It's kind of wobbling around it, flipping and toppling, and kind of like in one of those rides that you'd have at a fair where you get strapped in, you get tumbled in every direction. It was very peaceful.
For me, there was a connection to something beyond the finite, something eternal, almost a lightness or a sign of relief that was revealed, that was beautiful and pleasant, and again, something that was sort of beyond reason or knowledge, and everlasting in a sense.
And we end in silence, or in a story. A student once went to a Zen master, and he was serving the Zen master some sake, or he asked to serve him some sake after the meal. And the Zen master says, pointing to his belly, "Oh no, full, full." And the student says, "But I thought you were empty." He says, "Oh yes, emptiness, full." So thank you everyone for